Hello boys and girls, moms and dads, welcome to HeroesMart Homeschool Academy. This is 5th grade English. We're going to be doing week number 11 and day number 1 today. And as always, all day number 1s are going to be reading and comprehension lessons. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So we are going to be reading from a story titled God's Faithfulness. Because this is a curriculum that is intertwined with biblical morality, so you are going to learn about English principles, but at the same time you are going to put your mind on God as well, because the carnal mind is death, but the spiritual mind is life and peace. When you get a chance to put your mind on God, it's going to give you life and peace at the same time as you are getting educated. Alright, so please go ahead and turn your workbook over to page number 67 of your workbook. The story is going to be right in front of you over there if you have your workbook purchased or downloaded already. If not, you're welcome just to watch on the screen with us. A copy of it is going to pop in front of you. And then right afterwards, we are going to answer a few questions and do vocabulary building lesson. So let's go ahead and read today's story together.
A young boy named Isaac loved to play outside and explore the world around him. He loved to climb trees, chase after butterflies, and watch the animals grazing in the fields. One day, Isaac's family faced a severe drought that left their land barren and dry. The crops stopped growing, the animals grew thin, and there was very little food to eat. Isaac's parents were worried about how they would survive the drought and provide for their family. Isaac could sense his parents' worry and fear, but he also knew that God was in control. He remembered hearing stories from his grandfather about how God had provided for his family in times of need and how he had always been faithful to them. Isaac decided to pray to God and ask for help. He trusted that God would provide for his family just as he had done for his grandfather's family. Days passed, and the drought persisted. Isaac's parents grew increasingly worried, but Isaac remained calm and trusting in God. He continued to play outside, exploring and enjoying the beauty of God's creation. One day, as Isaac was playing near a nearby stream, he noticed that the water level had risen. He was excited to see the water, but he also realized that this was a miracle from God. He ran back to his parents and told them about the stream. Isaac's parents were amazed and grateful. They knew that the stream would provide water for their animals and crops, and that it was a sign of God's provision and faithfulness. Isaac learned that even in times of uncertainty and difficulty, God is always with us and will provide for our needs. He learned to trust in God's goodness and faithfulness, and to find joy in the simple things of life. The story of Isaac reminds us that we can always trust in God's provision and care for us. We may not know how or when He will provide, but we can trust that He will never abandon us and will always be faithful to His promises.
Alright, I believe you got a chance to read that story together with us. So let's go ahead right now and turn to the screen and try to answer a few questions over there. So question number 1 is going to be the water level of a nearby stream had risen. How significant was this to Isaac? So you're going to answer this question using your own word. Now, if you don't know what significance is just another word for how important is this particular event. So the fact that the nearby stream had water that had risen to the top, how important is this to Isaac? Now, if you remember from the story that we just read over here, Isaac had been praying to God that God was going to provide some kind of water for their family. And then all of a sudden, the water from a nearby stream had risen. Well, that is going to be an indication that God is faithful and God has answered Isaac's prayer. So you can write the answer just like that. It's a show of God's faithfulness in answering Isaac's prayers. All right, question number 2. Contrast Isaac's attitude with his parents' attitude. What was the difference? Well, if you remember from the story again, you can see Isaac was trusting God, but his parents were getting worried. So that's the contrast. Somebody had faith in God, and other people didn't have faith in God. Well, that's going to be the answer to question number 2. All right, question number 3. What are Isaac's hobbies? Well, that's going to be in paragraph number 1. His hobbies were to play outside and explore the world around him. He loved to climb trees, chase after butterflies, and watch the animals grazing in the fields. Well, those are going to be hobbies that you can document as answers to question number 3. All right, question number 4. What does the story teach us? Well, this story teaches us that God is faithful. We can always trust Him. We can always put our trust in Him and pray to Him and believe that He is going to take care of us. All right, so let's go ahead right now to the vocabulary section of today's reading. We are going to see certain words potentially that you may not have heard of before, or maybe you had heard of them before, but you just couldn't remember the meaning. Well, those words are going to be things like explore, severe, drought, goodness, faithfulness, beauty, creation, worry, fear, control. So what are we going to do to learn about these words and how to use these words in sentences? We're going to go to our dictionary, and our dictionary is going to be right over here. You're just going to go ahead and type in dictionary.com, and then you are going to type for the type of word in here. For example, the word drought. It looks like it's going to be like drought, but no, it's pronounced drought. Let's hear it sounded for us right now.
Drought. Drought.
Do you hear that?
Drought.
Drought. Okay, so that's the way it's pronounced. What's the meaning of it? It's a noun, and it means a period of dry weather, especially a long one that is injurious. That is injurious to crops. Let's see how they pronounce that.
Injurious.
Injurious to crops. Okay, so injurious to crops. Well, they say it's a long period of dry weather. All right, and that's exactly the situation over there. In the IPA spelling of it, you are going to see the spelling is going to look pretty much like this. If you have a paper copy of your dictionary, in the phonetic respelling of it, the phonetic spelling is going to look pretty much like this. All right, so let's go ahead and take another word like faithfulness. Let's try to type that in over here. Faithfulness. What's the meaning of faithfulness? All right, faithfulness means lasting loyalty and trustworthiness in relationships. All right, so the quality of being true to one's word and commitment. That's going to be another way to define faithfulness. Well, that's exactly what God is to Isaac, and that's who God is to us as well. All right, let's hear it sounded.
Faithfulness.
Okay.
Faithfulness. Faithfulness.
All right. IPA version of it is going to look like this. When you see this long hole with a horizontal line in the middle of it, that's how they pronounce most TH sounds. Okay, and then you are going to see that the emphasis is going to be on the first syllable over here because the apostrophe is right on top of that. All right.
Faithfulness.
Faithfulness. All right. So please go ahead and try to do that exercise for other words that you might have come across through today's reading, like the word explore and severe and goodness and all of that. Check your dictionary and try to learn something from those words and use those words in sentences by the grace of God. All right, so that's what I got for you today, boys and girls. Remember, God cares about you, and so do we. Bye-bye.
I'll be your hero's buddy, and as you study with HeroesMart,